Hello, everyone. So, as promised, today is Wednesday, and I am going to do the first in the series of emotional healing and the steps that I used to heal some inner conflict that I'd had. There are 7 steps that I came up with, and I'm going to share all 7 of them with you. But tonight we're only going to talk about the first one. But the 7 steps are: acknowledge the pain and allow it to be real, desire to be truly healed, be honest about the things that happen to you and your feelings attached to those things and events and situations and people. Believe that you deserve to be healed. Face the offender. Now, that one's tricky because a lot of people think that go find this person who hurt you and, kind of have the showdown with them. That is not what I mean at all. But when we get to that part of the series, I'll explain further. The next one is accept that you may never receive the apology or closure that you want. And then finally, forgive. Forgive them and forgive yourself. So tonight we're just going to talk about the first one, and that is acknowledge the pain and allow it to be real. And so I'm going to give you an example of, because I've had to heal from a lot of things, but I'm going to give you one example for this one. So acknowledge the pain and allow it to be real. In 2008, I went through a tumultuous divorce. It was not an easy thing. It was very stressful. And it was, almost to the point of being volatile. And me being who I am, a strong Capricorn survivor woman, I just kind of weathered through it and was like, whatever, I don't care, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'll get past this, I'll make it. And then I didn't date for a while. I just waited. Then when I did start dating, I noticed that I was very short tempered and my tolerance was at 0. And I just cut, I look, this isn't gonna work. We're done. I'm not gonna do this. And then one day I sat down and said, I'm really tired of being single. Why am I still single? Why am I by myself? And I had to realize that it was because I still had some baggage, okay, from that divorce that I just had not embraced, accepted, and faced head on. I had not acknowledged it. I just kind of breezed right over it and let life keep being life. And that's what a lot of us women especially do. We go through a situation, it's like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna weather this storm, but I gotta keep going. I got kids to take care of, I got a job to do, I have things to do. I can't stop and just deal with that right now. But the problem is, if you don't deal with it, it will eventually catch up and start dealing with you. And so I had to really just acknowledge that that divorce was horrible for me. It was very hurtful. It was embarrassing. It was demoralizing. It was just all things bad because I waited a long time to get married. I had been proposed to several times and had always turned these men down. And I didn't get married until I was 37 years old. And so I had waited all this time and I thought, okay, this is it. It's going to be perfect. We're older. We can work through things. And that didn't happen. The very things that I said I would never put up with in a marriage are the very things that I had to deal with in that marriage. And so I needed to sit down and just acknowledge the fact that it was painful, that it would hurt me really deeply, and that it broke me a little bit. It did. It really did. And I really needed to acknowledge that. And once I sat down and was able to just sit quietly somewhere, and yes, I had a glass of wine because I needed a little bit of help. But I sat down and I really just came face to face with that pain and allowed it to be. I sat down and I sat through all the emotions. And yes, I cried. And yes, I broke down. And yes, I got sad. And yes, I got angry all over again. But I allowed those emotions to just be. And I allowed them to have their space so that they could pass through. And once I did that, I was able to take a deep breath. And then I was able to see things differently. And I saw, for instance, where, you know, there were red flags before I even got married, and I ignored them. And then I saw where, there was some situations that I did kind of just blow up and just be done with it. I didn't have a lot of patience at some point, and I just didn't care. And so I had to come into grips with all of that. And that's what we have to do. No matter what the situation is, we've got to sit there and allow that pain to be, allow what happened to be. We need to acknowledge it and just let it be. Just sit in the emotions and let them have their space, let them have their time. Because as long as you keep them bottled up, they're going to continue to hurt you on the inside because that's where they are. But if you give them their space and their time, then they can come out and they'll go away and you can move forward, truly move forward. And so that's what I mean by acknowledging the pain and allowing it to be real. I had to sit and say, Jitan, you got divorced. You had to start your life all over again. What you thought was this fairy tale relationship ended terribly. I just sat there and let it all be real. Once I did that and I was able to take a deep breath and then see things from a different perspective, I felt so much better about it. And I was able to really get honest with myself about what I'll put up with, what I won't, what I'll tolerate, what I can't, and what I really, 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 truly want and what I don't. And so doing that helped me now to be in a better space when it comes to dealing with anyone, not just men, not just dating, but dealing with anyone. I'm honest with myself because I'm like, nah, that's just not something I would want to deal with. I don't ignore red flags anymore because I'm able to go back and say, no, last time you did that, you ended up in a really bad situation. So that's the first thing you have to do. I don't care if it was a job loss, if it was the loss of a loved one. As you can see, I have an ancestor altar behind me. These are my loved ones that have crossed over and gone on to exist in the spiritual realm. And it's painful, but I've learned to allow myself to sit through that pain and allow those emotions to be so that I can move forward as a much healthier person internally, that my spirit can be more free and my emotions can be more balanced. I don't just skip over my pain anymore. I don't just skip over things that are done to me anymore. No, I deal with them right then and there. If it's I don't, again, it could be loss. It could be something that you did to someone else. You still need to acknowledge it. You need to acknowledge it and accept that it's something you did. It's an action you took, because only in acknowledging can we begin to deal with things. Can we begin to face them and accept them and then move forward? So that's the very first thing you want to do, is you want to acknowledge what happened. You want to allow it to be real and you want to allow its space to be. And when you do that, you'll be able to breathe. You take a deep breath. You can't hold everything in forever. You cannot bottle all these emotions and feelings and trauma up inside of you forever. Trust me, you can't. It will destroy you from the inside out. Don't do that. So, next Wednesday, we will move on to the second step, and that is desire to truly be healed. In the meantime, I pray that you all are blessed and that your life is filled with love and light and peace, and that your path is well lit and you have all the guidance that you need. Ashe. Namaste.